Hey there, Matt here. Welcome back to the Epic Real Estate Investing Show. Good to see you. This is where we show people how to invest in real estate so they can escape the daily grind and retire early. And today we're going to talk about the wraparound mortgage. I've learned that many have heard about it, but a lot of people just don't know what it is or how it works. And so we're going to go through that, all right? And why you'd even want to use one. So we're going to answer those questions and a lot more. And then, how to put the paperwork together, how to close the deal, how to find the right closing agent that's going to help you do this. Because I don't know if you knew this or not, but there's a lot of title agents and escrow officers and even real estate attorneys that this would be like hieroglyphics to them. They wouldn't even totally get it. But if you'd like to go deeper with strategies like this, some creative strategies like this, and get some help with it, you might like what I'm doing next week, getting together live via Zoom with a small group of investors for a creative financing masterclass. And if you'd like to join us, you can get all of the details at creativefinancingmasterclass.com. Alrighty, so to help me out with this subject and answer your questions, I've invited a good friend of mine, very accomplished real estate investor, very knowledgeable in this area, from creativeclosers.net, Miss Rochelle Jarvis. Rochelle, welcome back to the Epic Real Estate Investing Show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today.
Yeah.
Wraps. Let's do it.
Super. Yeah, no, because I see that I teach a lot of these creative strategies and a lot of people get it. And I help them actually, make that connection and get it actually the seller on board for the idea. But once they've got it all under contract, it kind of falls apart for them, and because they can't, closing agents. I mean, this is like something totally new to your typical title agent or escrow officer. So I want to give people a little bit of insight on that. Okay. So, but first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through a few slides, a few graphics to kind of explain what a wrap is, bring everybody up to speed, and then Rochelle jump in and show you how she helps you close. All right. And actually get your money and get your property. So let's see. Let's go. Oh, no. All right. I'm telling you, I'm this multitasking of becoming the talent and the producer at the same time. Getting the hang of it here. All right, perfect. Okay, so a wraparound mortgage. This comes straight from Investopedia. A wraparound mortgage is a type of junior loan which wraps or includes the current note due on the property. The wraparound loan will consist of the balance of the original loan plus an amount to cover the new purchase price for the property. These mortgages are a form of secondary financing. The seller of the property receives a secured promissory note, which is a legal IOU detailing the amount due. And a wraparound mortgage is also known as a wrap loan, overriding mortgage, agreement for sale, a carryback, or all-inclusive mortgage. Or it could also be an all-inclusive trust deed, depending on what state you're in. So to kind of give you a visual of what this looks like, we'll take this house right here, valued at $100,000. Here's the owner. And they have a mortgage of $50,000 on the property. And for one reason or another, the buyer can't go out and, or the property won't qualify for a traditional finance. So something, maybe something wrong with the repair wise, something about it's obsolete. Maybe it's just in an area where no one's going to lend. It could be all different types of things that make it not appealing to your conventional lending. So the seller can go ahead and sell this property with their own financing and leave that bank mortgage in place. And essentially to bridge that gap between the $50,000 what they owe on it and the $50,000 of equity, they'll put another loan around it, creating a whole entire new mortgage of $100,000. So $50,000 for the seller financing, $50,000 for the bank, gives you $100,000. They can charge a little bit of an interest, bump that up a little bit. The buyer then makes the payments to the seller. The seller sends the bank their portion, and the seller keeps their portion. Right. So that's what a wraparound mortgage looks like. I've got another couple scenarios. One way to use it as a buyer, one way to use it as a seller. And I guess I'll just go through that, and then we'll spend the rest of our time with Rochelle. Okay.
I love these graphics, by the way, Matt. These are amazing. I don't know how you're doing this, but I'm like, this is amazing.
I created a YouTube video on this a long time ago, and I just happen to still have the slides. So I was like, hey, let's put them back to use.
Love it. Okay.
Right. Okay. So we'll say that you are the buyer this time. You're going to buy a property. We'll use the same property. It's valued at $100,000. There's this bank mortgage of $70,000 at 6%. Now, something about the property is not lendable. The bank will not loan on the property until the seller makes $10,000 worth of repairs. Well, the seller doesn't want to make the repairs.
Right.
So what are your options as a buyer? Well, if you're going to wholesale this property or flip this property, you're going to have to go look for a cash buyer. And all of your cash buyers are going to see that $70,000 price or the mortgage, and then they're going to deduct 10,000. So they're not going to want to pay more than 60,000 for it. So your typical wholesaler, your typical real estate investor would be out of options. Like, well, I can't give you more than 60,000, but you owe 70,000, so you're short. So either you got to negotiate a short sale, or the seller has to come in with money to close, and they never like to do that either. But what you can do as the creative real estate investor is you can offer to purchase this property via a wrap, and you can put a new mortgage around this, say at $80,000, and then go ahead and give the seller $5,000 to be on their way, so they got something out of the deal. And so you have an existing mortgage of $75,000 at 6%. So your down payment was $5K that you gave the seller. You got this new mortgage of $75,000. You get your $10,000 repair, and now you got $10,000 of equity. And this might be a really good. You might want to do this for a property that would be good in your portfolio. Just needed a little help, and now you got it. And all it really took you was the price of the down payment and the price of repair. So for $15,000, you have got this property added to your portfolio.
Love it.
Am I all right, Rochelle, so far?
You're doing great. I love these examples. It really makes it, breaks it down for the seller and buyer. You got it. And we can talk about other other reasons why, but let's get through your slides and we'll get to that.
For sure. Yeah, one more. So let's go to this scenario that you're the actual seller. Okay. And same scenario, value is $100,000, and you got this bank mortgage of $60,000. Now, what you can do when you're selling a house is you can sell your property for a premium if your buyer, particularly if it's an unlendable buyer, can't go to a bank or doesn't want to go to a bank. So a lot of people will pay more for a property just for the convenience. So if you offered a wrap, you could sell this for $110,000. I would, for sure, in today's market, but pretty much any market. So you get a 20% down payment. That goes to you, the seller. You wrap around the balance at $88,000. You get the $22,000. Then you get the monthly payments from your $88,000. So you get $585 there. But then you have to pay the existing mortgage because you left that in place. So your balance there would be $106 a month in cash flow.
Yep.
And there you go. So that's why you might want to do it as a seller. So those are the two scenarios.
Love it. Love it. This is amazing.
And all kinds of graphics going on there. Perfect. Okay. Let me come back over here. And there you are. Okay, cool.
Hey.
Hello, Chris. Good to see you. Rochelle he says hello.
What's up, Chris? Happy to have you here.
It's funny when you send me a text message and I got my earbuds on, they talk to me.
Oh, really?
A new text message from Rochelle.
Rochelle, oh no. You need to change the name.
Yeah, that's how Siri pronounces your name. But anyway, cool. So there's that, right? So that's the scenario, or that's the kind of the model of how it works, whether you're a buyer or a seller, right? So what you do all across the country in all 50 states is you close these creative deals for people. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your service?
Yeah, so at Constant Close, that's exactly what we do. We do wholesale and creative, but we've gotten pretty popular for our creative niche, right? Because back to what Matt was saying in the beginning, you guys, is that learning how to do this or having partners knowing how to do this, even attorneys, it can be very, very hard when you're adding all of these creative strategies, especially a wrap. Because wraps can go very, very deep. They can get into the weeds. I mean, you can take your wrap note and put 2 wrap notes underneath that. So it's really, our value is coming in, understanding the process, making sure that everybody's on the same page, everybody's learning at the same time, and then making sure that we do it the right way. And if you don't mind, I'd love to go that way in regards to, so what does that look like, right? So as we're explaining the process of what that scenario would look like for the seller or the buyer, there are some things that I want you guys to write down or pay attention to when you are doing these notes. With my company Constant Close, I like to play, or I do play like devil's advocate for all of my clients, making sure that when you're done with a property and you're taking it down, that it goes into your portfolio, does exactly what it needs to do, and you're not thinking about it. So what are those different elements that you need in your transaction that I would recommend? And if you're doing one right now, listen to this, take a look at it, and see what you could implement. So a couple of things. So like Matt had mentioned, you do have some what we like to call homestead buyers. What are homestead buyers? Homestead buyers are people that like to buy these wrap notes or these wrap mortgages, and they're called different things in different states because some of them aren't bankable. Some of them might have had an issue with their credit, gone through a divorce, had a foreclosure, but that doesn't mean that they don't have the funds or the income to be able to pay on this wrap note. So, what does that mean? That means that you can qualify them through a national underwriter to make sure that they qualify for this wrap mortgage. Now, why would you want to do that? If your interest is in wrap mortgages or notes and you want to add a big part of that to your portfolio, it's a very good it's a very good strategy, and it's also making sure that you could never ever be in a court or anything like that to where you could be accused of predatory lending. Like I said, getting the deal done the right way so you don't have to worry about it after you close. So what these national underwriters are called is RMLOs. So, and you know what, Matt, I couldn't even think of what RMLO stands for, but I know they are a national underwriter. Do you know what the abbreviations are? I don't even.
Registered mortgage loan originator.
Yes.
There you go.
And that's exactly what they do. So they'll take a homestead buyer that has the 20% down and they'll qualify them. They'll look at their W-2s. Now they're going to be a little bit more lenient with the interest rate, right? Because we know that these are these types of buyers, but they're going to make sure that they can make those payments. They'll certify them and say, yes, they can qualify for this mortgage. And that is for your files to say, I have done my due diligence, making sure that this person or this entity, whatever it might be, can qualify or can handle making these payments. So that would be something in the transaction that I would be looking for. And also making sure that your notes are written the right way. So someone might think, hey, I'm hiring an attorney, I'm hiring a title company to do these wrap notes. Why would I need to make sure that they're written the right way? You guys, it's always just people are human, people make mistakes. This is something that I would do if I had your transaction, is saying, was the right people put on there? Is the terms exactly what they have agreed to? Is it 500,000 at 5% with the installment payment? Is there any other nuances? Is there any balloon payment? So all of those terms, do your due diligence, make sure you're looking over all of those notes, because once they get recorded, it's kind of a mess to go back and have to refix things. So those are things that I could think of just right off the back in your transactions. That's something we do. But if you have your own, run them through an Armalo. I know it's an extra cost, guys, but it's worth it for your business. At least I think it is. What do you think, Matt? What do you think in regards to?
Well, if you're selling to resident owners, they're almost required.
Yeah,
You know, if you can, I think they give you what, 2 or 3 they allow you to do.
right.
But if you do above that and you make a business out of it, then you're selling to resident owners, people that actually gonna live in the house, then you have to use them.
Yes, yes,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah. And there's different things. I mean, a lot of people do these in LLCs, but he's exactly right. There's other things you need to think of. Dodd-Frank, there's other laws that we need to pay attention to when we're doing these wraps. And that is making sure you have, someone like an expert like me or a mentor like Matt that can kind of educate you on how to get it done the right way. To be honest with you, this is my favorite strategy. I love taking these down. One other thing that I could add, if you don't mind if I go there, there's a lot of people, you teach about sub two, right? And the value of sub two, where they can wrap these sub two mortgages to a homestead buyer. So the other thing that I'd like to make a recommendation, guys, is when you're wrapping a sub two loan, what are some things that you need to be thinking of for this homestead buyer? Now, obviously, this homestead buyer, the nature of their life is not to know all the different nuances about the sub two. So let's make sure that if we're wrapping a creative deal like subject to, that we have all of our disclosures, that the homestead buyer knows that they're taking over an underlining lien of someone else's credit, that they understand that they can't call the lender, that they have all of the information to make sure that they can make those payments. So what would that look like? Hire a servicing company. Hire a servicing company, put those things in the process that can make the process efficient and easy, so you can follow that diagram that Matt did where they debit the buyer's checking account, That money goes to you as the seller, because the fact that you wrapped that note, you are the seller, and then the seller can take that money and pay the underlying lien. So make sure you're adding all of these things in the process to get it done the right way.
Perfect. So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
And we're talking about paperwork, and I know paperwork is an issue, not issue, but it's something to be very much concerned about with when it comes to dealing with selling to resident owners.
Right.
So that investor to investor, like nobody cares, right? It's the resident owner that comes into play. That's typically where you're going to be able to sell the property using a rep and get that premium dollar for it. So it's important if you're looking to maximize the return on the deals that you get.
Right.
So disclosures and disclaimers, and we have all of that, and all that can be taken care of in due diligence. The important part is to get the actual agreement signed first. Like, let's get it agreed to in principle by the seller, then let's put it in writing. And then once you've got it in writing, you can take it to somebody like Rochelle. There's actually nobody like Rochelle, so take it to Rochelle, and then she'll give you the disclaimers and the disclosures and everything else that you can go get signed during due diligence. Correct?
Right. Absolutely. Yep.
Perfect. So what do you need from the seller or from the buyer, from the investor that's going to hire you? Like, do you need a special contract, or you can just use your standard everyday purchase agreement?
I would love for people to use my contract, just because my contracts are set up the right way that make it clear and concise about what the terms are and all the nuances. If you have it locked down with your homestead buyer or wrap buyer, we can come in and just add everything supplemental that we need. So if I will overview your contract, I will make sure it has everything that I would want to be in there. If it doesn't, I will add to it. But I think the best way to do it is to kind of see how to do it the right way first. So use my contract. We can help you write it up. And there's so much value in that, because we can show you how to do it, right? How do you list it? How do you write it? What's the verbiage, balloon payment? How do you do? Because there's a lot of nuances when it comes to these. So that's what I would suggest, is allow us to teach you how to write it up. But if for some reason you have a PSA, we'll look through it and we'll make the changes that are needed.
Perfect.
Yeah.
No, and you want to do it the right way.
Mm-hmm.
But my whole thing with my students is, don't let trying to do it the right way get in the way of you actually closing the deal.
100%.
Like, get the deal
Yep.
get the deal signed. All my students, I say, just go out there and make a mess, get a signature, bring
Yes.
it back, and then we can fix it up later.
Yes, I agree
Right?
with that 100%.
We
Yes.
get it locked up.
Yeah,
Perfect.
don't lose the deal. Don't lose the deal.
lose the
Don't
deal.
wait. Don't wait. Yeah, there's so much.
Where was Rochelle's contract? I can't find it.
I know. Yeah.
Yes. Get it on a napkin. Get something signed, and then she'll give you the
Yeah,
documents.
you definitely could. Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. And as she was saying, everything can be done via supplements and addendums, and all
Amended.
that stuff can be
Yep.
handled during due diligence.
Yep.
Lock up the deal.
Yep.
Cool. All right. So it all starts essentially with a subject to, though,
Mm-hmm.
right? A subject to, and then you're wrapping around seller financing around that.
Yeah. So
Right?
yeah, no, you're
Right.
exactly right. And I'm always asking myself, what would I ask if I was learning about this? Now, why? Why do people want to do this, right? We're showing you kind of how it get done and the things that you need to put into the transaction. Well, you guys, the whole thing of this, right, is you learn how to build capital through wholesale. But part of creative finance and the power of it is cash flow, right? And it's cash flow with you not having to be a landlord. Which is, in my mind, the best type of, that's probably why it's one of my best investment strategies, is because you become the seller, the lender, and you're able to get that cash flow. So back to the diagram that Matt did, I mean, it was only 106. We know that cash flow could look different if it's a homestead buyer, if it becomes an Airbnb, if you use a different strategy. But that's the whole name of the game of why these are amazing, is because you can get that cash flow. Now, that wrap note that you have, that's in different states, it'll be called a deed of trust, a note, a wrap mortgage. But even that wrap note, like I said, you can get into the weeds a little bit more. You could even sell those notes. You could even sell those notes and gain capital that way. So there's a lot of things that you can do with this, but the whole name of the game is cash flow, right? And that's why they're so powerful and amazing, and why a lot of people like them. Plus, giving somebody a solution to be a homeowner is something in my mind that is gratifying. There's a lot of people out there that are wanting these second chances to be homeowners. They have the money, they have the job. So it's gratifying to me to say, listen, I know you had an issue with your credit, something happened. and I can provide them with a home and they can be a homeowner. So them paying that higher purchase price and higher interest rate, I get that question. Why would someone do that? Because they want home ownership.
Yep,
So it's not something that's hard to convince people to do. It's a value and solution for these homestead buyers for sure.
for sure. I mean, that's part of our whole promotion is, why rent when you can own?
Yeah.
And we'll position it and structure our wraps to be in a place where it comes just slightly less of a payment than what it costs them to rent.
Yep.
And all of a sudden they're like, okay, well, and even though we're making a whole lot more money on the deal, and we might not be making the huge amount of cash flow that we could as a landlord,
Right.
but instead of a 30-year amortized, maybe it's 40-year amortized, right?
Right.
Or maybe it's you purchased at a really good price and now you can sell it with a really high interest rate just to bring up that payment to be just less than rent. So there's a lot of different ways that you can approach this.
100%.
So let me ask, this is a very much an advanced strategy,
Uh-huh.
right? This is not probably what someone's going to do on their very first one, and even people that have got some experience under their belt can kind of mess it up. What do you see commonly? Maybe some of the mistakes investors make, or some of the reasons that they don't go all the way to the finish line.
Um, I would say one thing that I notice is people just don't know how to sell these the right way. They don't understand kind of what we're talking about, the value, who is your wrap buyers, and maybe not having access to a mentor, things of that sort. So I think sometimes they get so excited about getting the deal that they forget to do some of the disclosures that are really important, and it ends up kind of biting them in the butt. And then making sure that their terms are the right way. What I see a lot of times is you guys need to also be paying attention to your interest rate, right? Making sure that you're doing it, it's fair, but at the same time, it's not ridiculously high. So it's really just people understanding this type of strategy, who you sell it to, the value and the solutions that you are providing, especially if you are wrapping a sub two mortgage. So do your due diligence to follow someone like Matt or hire someone like me, like an expert, to know how to be able to put these deals together, or JV with somebody. I'm sure some of your students could be such a value add for these people of learning how to do it the right way. So I would say them just not know how to work their terms, not disclosing it the right way. And I do see that a lot of people do not want to hire an RMLO. There's a lot of people that don't want that extra cost, but you guys, I couldn't say it enough about how it's invaluable to just do it the right way. So those are the kind of the things that I see all the time is them not wanting to do those things or not knowing quite how to structure their terms.
For sure. The term structuring of the terms, and I would say what I see where people have a little bit of a challenge is, you know, we're here talking about this. We talk about this every day. This is
Right.
our industry. We have jargon and we have this wraparound mortgage. And we have subject to. You
Right.
got to remember, sellers, particularly those sellers of the motivated nature, aren't finding themselves at the best place in life at the moment. And you start dropping those types of terms on people, on sellers, you can really confuse them.
Yes.
Right. So you want to really practice on explaining these things as if you were talking to a fifth grader,
Mm-hmm.
and not in a patronizing way, but just in a very simple structure.
Yep.
So this, like for a mortgage, this is what we're going to do. I'll go ahead and I'm going to take over the payments, and I'll take over the maintenance on your property. I'll go ahead and take over those payments. And then we'll give you a little bit of extra, which I'll make those payments directly to you. And we'll just kind of bundle it all up into one nice package. So it's all managed and everybody knows exactly where it's going to go. So the bank on your current loan will get their money, and then you'll get your money, and then I'll get the house, and everyone will be happy. Does that make sense?
Yep. Perfect.
You know, just like that. So I didn't use wrap. I didn't use subject to. I didn't use anything like that. I just said you're going to get all of your money, and the bank's going to get theirs on time, and you're going to get yours on time, and you're going to be able to go and visit your grandkids in Arizona or whatever, and whatever their motivation is, right?
I agree 100%. I think sometimes, like I just said when I was explaining this, it's not the nature of their world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're probably like, what are you talking about? And that could lead us into another conversation of how sometimes there's risk, right? Because we don't do it the right way. They're not going to, if a lender calls them and they say, hey, I sold my property to Rochelle, they're not going to remember how they sold it. So it is really good to kind of bring it down, talk to them on their level, and help them understand it. And what you said was perfect. That was a perfect way of explaining it.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'll go ahead and answer your questions here in just a second, but just to let you guys know, Rochelle and I and a couple of my other friends are getting together next weekend for the Creative Financing Masterclass. It's a one-day event. And when you register right away, you get access to my lending network. It's growing and growing and growing, where
Love
they
it.
provide 100% funding for your fix and flips. They'll help you buy the house and they'll give you the money to fix it up. And then bridge funding for your creative deal. So if you got a seller finance deal, but you need some money to come in with and you need the down payment, they can help you out with that. And then they got asset-based rental loans, where they look more at the property itself than they do your credit score. So perfect credit is not required to get those types of loans for your income properties. And that right there, the funding bonus is just one of 8 bonuses, $5,000 value. And so that's the bonus. So what are we actually really going to talk about? Well, if you want to creatively finance your real estate investments, from finding the right opportunities to negotiating the right terms to structuring the paperwork to organizing the close to collecting your profits, which is very much how Rochelle fits in and helps us out, you can join me to learn what I and my rockstar students are doing for their real estate portfolios, all in the nature and orchestrate on how you can actually pull it off yourself. That's what it's for. Comes with a 300% success rate guarantee. You get all the details at creativefinancingmasterclass.com. And then I'll just give you an idea of the actual schedule. We got 8 sessions. Session 1, effective creative financing strategy. So they'll kind of lay the foundation and the basics for everybody. If this is something brand new to you, we're going to bring you up to speed really quickly there. And then session 2 is the secret of getting sellers to accept creativity. This is the secret to the whole thing, is being able to present a creative structure to a seller and have them go, yeah, I want to do that. Let's do that. And then session 3, how to create the creative offers using the 3-option letter of intent. It's the tool that I've used to build almost my entire portfolio with no banks and no credit score, very minimal money down. And I'll show you how to do that. And then how to close creative deals. And that's when Rochelle's going to come in and she's going to go through her service, and she's got a little bit of a bonus for you as well, and something special she's going to discuss. So we'll talk about that in just a sec. Then profit first for real estate investing. I've got a book here. Let's see. Boom. All right, the book. Profit first for real estate investing. Everybody that signs up is going to get one of these mailed directly to them. This is on me. I'm going to go to Amazon. I'm going to buy them all at the last minute, right after everybody registers, and I'll go ahead and send these out. This book, Profit First. Well, the original book, Profit First, was written by Mike Michalowicz. Total game changer for me, and I think it's essential for every entrepreneur. Right. And it's basically how to structure your life so you are always paying yourself first, and then you're paying your bills, and then you get to have fun with what's left over. And that has been a total game changer for me. It sounds like a really simple concept, but the way that it's laid out, it's really doable. And like I said, I've got all this money saved up for cash emergency. I've got my taxes saved up. I got everything all prepared for my investments, and my bills get paid on time, and I don't even notice. So it's really, really awesome. So my friend David Richter, he went and got a license and signed up with the guy, and he didn't sign up with him. What was I talking about? He became friends with him, and he wrote this specifically for real estate investors. So and I just finished it, and I want to give you a copy because I think it's that much of a game changer. And David is actually going to be here to discuss and teach you for an hour of how it works. Okay, so that one's huge. And then session 6, Josh Miller, former client of mine, he's going to show you how to, and he's got a free tool, how to pick just the right zip code, the right amount of distress, and just how to pick these markets to where they're open to creativity. So he's going to give you that tool, not selling anything. He's going to give you a little, and then you'll be able to use that in any market. You can start just researching markets all across the country. And then number 7, the deal after the deal, very much kind of what Rochelle touched on, where you can take your notes and you can find a secondary market and profit even more. You know, with every sale or every transaction, there's the terms of the sale, there's the terms of the loan, and then there's the terms of the paperwork. And a lot of people overlook the paperwork and how much opportunity there is for it to even maximize your ROI even more after the deal's over. So we call it the deal after deal. In the last session, I'm going to go over the velocity of investment. I've been able to multiply my ROI by 3, all the while by virtually eliminating my risk. So if you'd like to join us, please do. Go to creativefinancingmasterclass.com. All right. So I've got some questions here. Just one. If you have any questions for Rochelle, take advantage while she's here. Got any questions for me? I'm open to. Let's see. Dreams Made Alive is asking, within your standard course, Matt, is Rochelle accessible to us? Yes, she's accessible to you even outside of my course.
Yeah.
And you can contact her. Go through this link right here, creativeclosers.net. She'll know that you came straight here from Epic, and then she'll give you some special love and attention that way, okay?
Fantastic.
And then let's see. I think there's another question here. All right. In which market, she asks, would you use a wrap, low equity, and plan to hold property or sell the terms? Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so first one, in which market would we use a wrap, low equity? Um, yes, you can do it. You can do it in anything, right? You really can. If there's a mortgage in place, you can do it anywhere. What you're really looking for is the distress. You're looking for a level of motivation.
Right.
The foundation of every deal lies within the seller's motivation to sell, and all types of motivation are open to wraps.
Yep.
Right? Do you see
Yep.
a specific market that you see coming through your office that seems to be more conducive to this strategy than others?
No, I think you're exactly right. It could be in so many different distress scenarios. And I think that's kind of the bridge that I always need to go over with everybody when they're coming from like a wholesaler or traditional mindset is like, okay, with this, does it fall in this bucket? Well, just like you said, it's really the pain, it's really the distress, and being a very
Mhm.
good consultant of understanding what that is. And then there's not a specific state or low equity, high equity. It's just really understanding the distress of the seller, and you'll be able to apply this strategy to them. There's so many different solutions with this. So yeah, definitely not one market or one state or anything. You could do it with so many different
Right.
deals. Yep.
Perfect, for sure.
Yeah.
And then she's asking the end plan is to hold the property or sell the terms. Yeah, whatever's going to get you to your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Here at Epic, we don't really position ourselves as the subject to people or the wholesale people or the lease option people. We're deal finders. We're real estate investors. We go out and we get deals under contract. Once you've got it under contract, now you can stop and pause and figure out what's the best way you want to profit from this deal.
Right.
Maybe you've got a bunch of cash in the bank and you don't really need to flip it. So you want to add to your portfolio and you can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe you're just getting started and you need the cash. You got to pay rent and you need life expenses, or you got a business, you got to replenish marketing, you got to pay payroll, then you're going to go ahead and flip.
Yeah.
But that's going to change for you with every deal, and it's going to change with you at every time that you get those deals. So you get to decide then, get it under contract, and then you figure out how you're going to do it. Okay.
Yep.
But both of those work.
Absolutely. And I'll add to that too, if you don't mind, Matt. It's like the thing that's so amazing about this strategy is has a little bit of all those elements in it. It's are you going to hold on to it, build capital, long term hold? It's you get some capital right from the down payment, which is nice that you can throw into marketing or looking at your financial environment or your financial portfolio. Exactly to Matt's point, what do you need to do with that? But the neat thing about it is you can get that cash flow while getting some capital and have both of those pieces, which is amazing. And then, like we talked about earlier, we could even, divide that wrap note into 2 notes and sell and get more capital or pay off that sub 2 loan. So many different strategies with these wraps. So depending upon what you need in your business.
Perfect. All right. So if you want to work with Rochelle and have her close your deal, like the pro that she is, you can go to creativeclosers.net for your next deal. And then Rochelle, so I know you're going to be working with me, joining me next weekend.
Yeah.
What do you have planned? Do you have something new that you're going to be sharing with everybody?
Yeah. So I like to talk to everybody about kind of what I'm seeing, back to Matt's questions. What are you guys seeing? I'm seeing a lot of foreclosures right now. You guys, we all know that there has been some distress over the last couple of years with COVID. And back to my point of being able to provide solutions, I'm always looking for something intentfully in my business, how I can impact people. Yeah, the bottom line is to make money, to get a portfolio, but is being able to serve these sellers. In my mind, foreclosure leads are leads that are basically raising their hand and saying, I need help and I need assistance. And they don't know that we can serve them in these ways. So I told Matt that I would love to share with this thing that we have going on next week, my financial foreclosure ebook, and share it with your audience of giving them some value of if you have somebody that's going to auction in the next week or two, how can you push off that foreclosure date so you can find a solution for them? So I would love to give that to everybody that enrolls or signs up as a value just from me to Constant Close to help you help those people, because foreclosures are back. And so that's something that I'm seeing in the industry, and I want to provide some value so the investors can get out there and help them.
Perfect. Sweet.
Yeah.
Chris has a question here. What is the minimum would you accept, like from a wholesaler who wants to assign his contract to you and up? A little unclear. Do you
Yeah.
know what that means? You gathering it? What he's asking?
Rochelle, what's the minimum you would? I'm thinking he's talking about terms, like the wholesaler who wants to assign this contract to you and up. So if you're talking about like assign the contract, if it's a creative deal, obviously we're always going to vet deals. If I'm going to buy it, there has to be some advantageous to me. Is there cash flow? What can I do with the property, rental rates? So when it comes to creative deals, you guys keep in mind too, so many different elements. This is not like wholesale where it's 75%, 85% ARV. If it's in those numbers, that makes sense. What's the cash flow? What type of deal are you wrapping? What am I getting from this? And how can I either add it to my portfolio or disposition it? So there is no minimum. It's about, vetting your deal and seeing is there enough to assign, or is there something that me as the end buyer or another wholesaler as the end buyer can gain off of buying that deal.
Super.
Yeah.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's next week we're getting together. Last chance. Gonna go quick. We're closing this on Sunday night. And when you register, you get instant access to the funding, the 100% funding for your fix and flips, the bridge funding for your creative deals, the asset-based rental loans. We've got 8 full action-packed sessions, 300% success rate guarantee. And you get all those details at creativefinancingmasterclass.com. Rochelle will be there. I will be there. And I've got some other surprises for you as well.
Amazing.
All righty. Rochelle, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate you. And let's see. Got another question before we go.
Okay.
All right. My issue is knowing when to implement which creative finance solution that'll give me the most bang. I know it depends greatly on my end game. However, as Rochelle mentioned, foreclosure is on.
Yeah.
Right. So, which strategy it's really going to be dependent on. And she's asking which deal structure should she focus on.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't go in attached to a structure.
Yes.
Right? You're going in to talk to the seller to find out what their problems are. And then you got a bunch of structures in your toolbox that could be a fix.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I would do, or what I like to do is, I'll make a couple soft passes with the seller for my lowball discount all cash offer. That's going to be your safest position. If you can get a really cheap price accepted by the seller and you got a big equity position,
right,
it's going to give you the most exit strategies available to you. It's probably your most certainty of actually getting a paycheck for that property. But as we know, a lot of sellers, they're very much attached to their price. They want the price. They want the price. And that's okay. You can give them their price if you are allowed to have some sort of control over the terms, right? We purchase property in one of two ways based on our price and the seller's terms, or the seller's price and our terms. As long as we've got control of one of those, we can always make a deal for ourselves.
Right.
So I would say if you're gonna get always go for the discount first. If they say no, then you're gonna give them the price, and then you're gonna go for the terms. But have just kind of a standard structure. Like my standard structure is always like, well, I guess the market might allow me to do that. I'm not sure, but if I was able to do that, if the market was able to allow me to do that, I could give you some money now and the rest later. How much do you need right now?
Yeah.
Right. So just keeping it really simple and asking how much they need right now. That's essentially your down payment.
Yeah.
Now how you structure what they need later, that could depend on whether they own the house free and clear, whether they got a mortgage, whether it's a foreclosure and there's back payments to be made, whether it needs repairs. So all that stuff comes into play. So it's not really a one size fits all. But if you're going to go for the terms, how much I could give you that. If I could give you some money now, the rest later, how much? That's it. And now you get the down payment, and now you craft the benefit.
Yep. I agree 100%. Yeah. And so, she's asking more than assigning. That's what the creative finances is to offer so many more solutions, right? To be the expert in your industry, to be able to, pivot and give them another solution that if it doesn't work out for them, just take it cash. So that's the power of it. And that's why it's so amazing. As long as we know that pain, we can generally find them a solution through the creative finance route.
Perfect. All righty. We'll go ahead and last chance, go to creativefinancingmasterclass.com. Join us, get all of the bonuses, including all the funding that you see right there. And I'll be there. Rochelle will be there to answer your questions, to interact with you. We got a full day together. We'll give you all the documents, all the paperwork. I'm going to give you all the links, all the resources that we use to put this all together. And Rochelle's also got that her new foreclosure ebook to help you kind of discover and take advantage of this new market that's coming up, right?
Yep. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
You bet, Rochelle. Thank you very much. And I will see you very, very soon.
Okay, sounds good. Bye-bye.
You bet. Bye-bye. All righty. So if you found this episode valuable, who else do you know that would? There's a good chance that you do know somebody else that would. And when their name comes to mind, please share it with them and ask them to click the subscribe button when they get here. And if you haven't clicked the subscribe button, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button for me, because we post cool stuff like this each and every week. And I'll take great care of you from this point forward. And whoever you send this way, I'll take great care of them as well. All right. God loves you, and so do I. Health, peace, and blessings and success to you. I'm Matt Terrio, living the dream. Take care.